The vibes are immediately off as we get introduced to Lily, this adorable pixel art kid who is just trying to exist, while her dad, Papa, heads out for work. It is giving major neglectful parent energy, because who leaves a 9-year-old alone in a massive storm with just mac and cheese? The atmosphere is already setting up for something absolutely unhinged to happen in this house. Lily gets woken up by a cryptic voice screaming for help from the well outside, which is basically rule number 1 of horror movies. Do not investigate the suspicious noise. But Lily has zero survival instincts and decides she needs to be the main character and save whoever is trapped. The voice sounds like someone is suffering, so obviously the logical response is to go down there. Before heading into the danger zone, Lily decides to pack her emotional support teddy bear, Sniffles, because that will definitely protect her from eldritch horrors. She starts exploring the house to get a layout of the land, checking doors and grabbing random items like a loot goblin. The house layout feels like a liminal space, just waiting to reveal its dark secrets to anyone paying attention. Stepping outside into the rain, the game encourages you to pick up absolutely everything that isn't nailed down, including heavy rocks. Lily is just casually shoving boulders into her inventory like it is Minecraft, completely ignoring the fact that carrying heavy stones while trying to climb down a rope is a physics disaster waiting to happen. The logic here is already questionable at best. Lily finds a rusty chain on a bridge, and her first thought is that this is prime rope material. She rips it off, which seems incredibly dangerous for structural integrity. But we move. There is also a cave nearby, but the water is rushing too fast, basically telling us that the environment wants to kill us just as much as whatever is in the well. We stumble upon a lonely tire swing, and the narrative drops a lore bomb that Papa never taught Lily how to tie proper knots, only bed knots. It is a subtle way of showing that he literally did not prepare her for the real world at all. We grab the rope from the swing because we are desperate for crafting materials to descend into the abyss. Lily attempts her first descent with a very questionable rope collection, and surprise, it does not go well. The rope snaps because we did not have enough quality materials, sending her plummeting into the darkness. It is the first reality check that this is not a cozy adventure game. It is a trial-and-error nightmare, where failure means a very crunchy ending. The game loops back, or maybe it is a new iteration of Lily, and we are back in the room knitting. This time, we decide to unravel the knitting project and use the yarn as rope, which sounds like the weakest plan ever. We also grab a lamp because falling into a pitch-black pit without a light source is just asking for a bad time. Using the yarn and bed sheets results in another disaster because, shockingly, knitting supplies are not industrial-grade climbing gear. The rope creaks and snaps, leading to a long, terrifying fall that ends with Lily becoming part of the floor. It is brutal, but it teaches us that we need to stop messing around and find actual sturdy items if we want to survive. We start reading a book about local plant life, and the lore dump is terrifying. The forest is full of plants that mimic people or digest animals, which is just lovely. It explains that the trees might be formed from souls of lost people, basically confirming that the entire property is a haunted graveyard of biological experiments gone wrong. Hi there! If you want to enjoy more gaming lore without grinding for 60 hours, hit that subscribe button. I do the grinding so you don't have to. Your support really helps the channel. The investigation of the vines outside reveals that some are useful for climbing, while others are straight-up traps designed to kill you. We have to differentiate between the useful blue thorns and the vampire vines that will suck your blood dry. It is a classic puzzle element where paying attention to the details in the text is the difference between life and being plant food. Searching under the couch reveals an old charger, which is seemingly useless trash, but actually crucial for solving puzzles later. It is that classic adventure game trope where you have to hoard garbage. We also learn that Papa has some secrets hidden away, and the innocent facade of the house is starting to crack with every new item we uncover. Lily finds a letter addressed to Papa from someone named Vic, mentioning a research project and a pig farm. This is a massive red flag that Papa is not just a teacher, but involved in some shady alchemy or biological experiments. The letter implies he has been at this for a long time, and Lily might just be a small part of a much bigger, nastier picture. Finally, unlocking the shed is a game changer because we find actual tools like bolt cutters and extension cords. These are the first items that actually look like they could support human weight. It feels like we are finally leveling up from hapless child to prepared explorer, even though the atmosphere is still screaming at us to turn back and go to sleep. We try to go down the well with 5 pieces of rope, thinking we are making progress, but the game laughs in our face. It is still not enough length or strength to reach the bottom safely. The mechanics are strictly enforcing the idea that you cannot half-send this mission. You either prepare perfectly or you end up as a stain on the rocks. In one of the failed attempts, Lily falls and gets washed out into the drainage pipes, ending up in the lake. The description of her body washing up on the rocks is visceral and confirms that nobody is coming to save her. It highlights the isolation of the setting. Even if she escapes the well, the environment itself is hostile and deadly. Trying a different combination of rope items leads to another failure, but this time we get to see a different death animation or outcome. The game is basically a catalog of tragic endings for this kid. Every time the rope snaps, it reinforces the hopelessness of the situation and makes the player wonder if there is even a happy ending possible here. We dive back into the plant book to understand which vines are safe, realizing that the orderly's punishment vine is strong but painful to touch. This lore is not just flavor text, it is the key to survival. It paints a picture of a world where nature has been twisted by whatever experiments Papa is conducting, merging biology with cruelty. Exploring the kitchen, we see the massive gas stove and the fridge covered in drawings. The stove is stuck, hinting that we might need to move it later or use it for something destructive. The domestic setting clashes hard with the horror elements, creating that uncanny valley feeling where a normal home feels like a prison cell waiting to be breached. We find a birthday card from Auntie Mifuyu that gives us a specific date, which is obviously the code for the safe in the closet. It is a classic puzzle solution, but it also adds emotional weight, showing that Lily has people who care about her outside of this nightmare. It makes her situation feel even more tragic, because she is so close to being loved but is stuck here. Lily interacts with a memorial stone that is filled with black liquid and hair, which is absolute nightmare fuel. The hair moves on its own, suggesting it is alive or part of some creature. This connects back to the lore about people being turned into materials or plants, hinting that the ingredients for Papa's experiments are likely human remains. On a deeper descent, Lily spots a hidden window and crashes into a secret room. Inside, she finds a corpse covered in maggots, and the game casually traumatizes us by explaining what maggots are. This discovery proves that people have been dying down here for a long time, and the voice might just be a lure to add more bodies to the pile. In a chilling sequence, Lily wakes up in her bed as if it was all a bad dream, and Papa gaslights her into believing she imagined the voice. He forces her to repeat that good girls listen to Papa, effectively brainwashing her. It is psychological horror at its finest, showing that the real monster is not in the well, but sitting right next to her on the bed. Lily tries to grab a vine on the well wall, but it turns out to be the vampire vine from the book. It wraps around her and sucks her dry, a horrific death that punishes the player for not paying attention to the lore. It is a brutal reminder that knowledge is power in this game, and ignorance literally kills you. We find a letter from the college staff talking about Project Nymph and mercurial flooding. This confirms the house is sitting on top of a massive biological research facility. Papa is not just a weird hermit. He is a high-ranking scientist running unethical experiments that the school is trying to cover up. The scale of the conspiracy just blew wide open. Attempting to sneak through a vent leads to another gruesome end when Lily gets sliced up by a high-speed fan. The facility is riddled with traps designed to keep things in or out. It shows that the place was built with containment in mind, and a small child wandering around is basically walking through a meat grinder. Lily finally gets incredibly close to the bottom, seeing the floor, but then someone cuts the rope from above or below. It is a devastating moment that resets the loop again. It implies that there is an active antagonist watching her struggle, treating her attempts like a cruel game or a test where failure is the expected outcome. Using the birthday code, we open the safe and find a whip, which is a very concerning item for a father to have locked away. Lily naively thinks it will make a good rope, unaware of the dark implications. It is another piece of environmental storytelling that paints Papa as abusive and controlling, adding to the reasons why we need to escape. We trigger a bizarre, glitched ending involving a cat picture and code errors. It breaks the fourth wall, suggesting that the game itself is unstable or that Lily's reality is falling apart. It is a meta-horror moment that makes you question if Lily is even a real person or just a file in a computer system being deleted and rewritten. Finally, with enough rope materials, Lily reaches the actual bottom of the well. It is not a cave, but a man-made structure with bones and rotting meat everywhere. The realization that the well is just a disposal chute for failed experiments is horrifying. We are now in the belly of the beast, and the genre shifts from survival to infiltration. Lily finds a sleeping god named Freddy Fungus and has to make a choice. In a moment of pure survival instinct, she stabs him to get his key card. It is shocking to see a child forced to commit murder to survive, showing how much this environment has corrupted her innocence. She is doing whatever it takes to find the truth. We gain access to an elevator and start exploring different floors, each color-coded and representing different alchemical elements like gold, brimstone, and salt. The facility is huge and dedicated to creating life or souls. The pretentious philosophical quotes on the walls contrast sharply with the gruesome reality of the body horror experiments happening in the labs. One of the floors reveals a replica of Lily's bedroom, but everything is fake. The bear is sand, the wardrobe is hair. It is a Truman Show reveal that implies Lily's entire life has been a simulation or a controlled experiment. She was never a normal girl. She is a specimen being observed in a controlled habitat, which destroys her entire sense of identity. We finally confront Papa in the lab, and he drops the bomb. Lily is a clone, an iteration. There have been many Lilies before her, and They all died. He treats her like a faulty product rather than a daughter, complaining about her hair color not being right. It is the ultimate betrayal, confirming that his love was just a scientist obsessing over his project. Papa goes on a villain monologue, explaining that he kills the clones to reset their souls until they become the perfect obedient daughter. He basically admits to serial filicide in the name of science. He is completely detached from humanity, viewing Lily's suffering as just data points in his research to create the perfect homunculus. A flashback triggers, revealing the truth about Lily's biological mother, who tried to leave Papa because he was insane. It shows the original trauma that Papa is trying to overwrite. He killed the original mother and has been trying to recreate her or their child ever since, stuck in a loop of obsession and violence that he refuses to break. In one of the secret endings, Lily encounters a monster in the dark, and instead of fighting, she feeds it all the beef jerky she collected. But once the food runs out, the monster eats her. It is a dark joke about trying to appease nature. Eventually, the wild things will consume you because you are just meat to them. Lily uses the secret phone number we pieced together to make a call. This is the turning point. She reaches someone on the outside who actually knows what is going on. It is the first time Lily has agency that is not controlled by Papa. Calling for help is the ultimate act of rebellion against the good girl programming. The person on the phone, who sounds suspiciously like an older, cooler version of Lily or a relative, gives her a specific plan. They talk her through the trauma, validating her memories of abuse and death. This conversation is the emotional anchor of the game, breaking the isolation and proving that Lily is not crazy, just terribly victimized. During the call, Lily realizes the full extent of the horror. She remembers dying multiple times. The caller confirms there have been dozens of iterations. It is a heartbreaking moment of self-awareness, where Lily accepts her nature as a clone, but decides she still deserves to live. She rejects Papa's narrative and chooses her own survival. The rescuer arrives, and it is a woman with dyed hair who looks like she listens to shoegaze. She enters the house and initiates the extraction plan. Seeing Lily interact with a sane adult who treats her with kindness highlights just how warped her life with Papa was. They pack up to leave, but not before doing one last thing. They decide to burn the whole house down. Lily pours kerosene everywhere, drenching the garden and the fake home. It is a cathartic release, destroying the site of her trauma and killing the hair and experiments growing there. Watching the flames is the final goodbye to Papa and his twisted legacy. He can rot in his lab while they escape. The game ends with Lily getting a hug and a promise of chocolate chip pancakes. It is a surprisingly wholesome conclusion to a nightmare. She is free from the loop, free from Papa, and finally allowed to be a kid. The cycle of death is broken, and she gets to start a real life, leaving the horrors of the well behind for good. Gaming lore is long and confusing, but I break it down every week. Subscribe so you never miss a plot twist or hidden detail. Thanks for watching.